Varyo me Sanjatam Sadagrahi Vedanti Sri Mahajiskaya Nama Narayana Sri Mahajiskaya Nama Mahajiskaya Actually, Homohiti Cesarani Chanayani Asmato Bahuso Layaka Sindo Ramanujasya Saranam Pravadya. Friends, in this talk, I have chosen a title which is a very alluring literary title. All of you might have heard of the novel A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. The two cities are London and Paris. And the story is a socio-political revolution that was taking place during the French Revolution. When I was thinking of the opening lines of that book, Dickens writes paradoxically, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. How can be the best, the worst at the same time? When I thought of the life of Ramanuja, I thought his life was also of these two things. It was the best of times for Ishtadvaita, for the tradition of Vaishnavism, for people like you and me. But it was the worst of times for persons like Sri Ramanuja or Kuratharvar or many of the people who had to undergo so much of persecution, hatred. All of you know that Ramanuja was poisoned, that Kuresa had to sacrifice his eyes along with Periyanambigal, and that he had to flee, as it were, wearing white dress, which the ochre robe of a sannyasin was replaced by. With all these things, should you not think that it was the time which was the best and the worst at the same time? Though there are different opinions about the reason for this persecution and for Ramanuja fleeing from Srirangam to Melkote, Carmen has got one opinion, other historians have got different opinions, Hegarji has got something else, legend has got something else, but most of the things are connected to our Guru Parampara, which is hagiographical, literary and historical. Literature is able to give us some internal evidence to tell us that all these things are true. Therefore, we shall follow mostly what has been recorded in the Guru Parampara, or what you may call as the traditional Samprathaya texts. Now, when I began to think of the two towns or two cities, I was wondering whether I can stop with Kanchipuram and Srirangam, or take Srirangam and Melkote, or Srirangam and Tirupati. Well, I was not very sure. When I began to enumerate, at least 10 cities came to my mind. Bhutapuri, Tirupukuri, Kanchipuram, Madurantakam, Tirukkotiyur, Srirangam, Tirumalai, Srikurmam, Tirukurungudi, Melkote. Well, these are only 10. There are many, many more. So, to give it the title, A Tale of Two Cities, somehow seemed inappropriate. I had to make a choice. I thought at least 3 must do. And I chose 3. But choosing 3 itself was again difficult, because initially I chose Bhutapuri, Tirupukuri and Kanchipuram. Because Kanchipuram where he began and Kanchipuram where he ended. Because that was where he came after Kuratharvar lost his eyes to pray to Vardaraja. Tirupukuri was the place where he had his initial training. Bhutapuri was where he was born. So we shall have it. Kanchipuram, Tirupukuri and Bhutapuri. Then I thought, much of it is not as enjoyable as what has taken place in Srirangam and Melkote. So I thought I could take Madurantakam, Tirukkotiyur and Srirangam. Because Madurantakam, instruction of Dvayam. Tirukkotiyur, the secrets. And Srirangam, the place where from he ruled the Vaishnavite world, as it were. He was an emperor. Then I thought, no, why not change the title to this? The Tale of 3 Cities and 3 Rajas. One is Devaraja, the other is Sangaraja, and third is Tirumalai Raja. So I thought I could take it that way. Then I thought, that won't be enough, because the adventures of Ramanuja are not to be mentioned in these. So we have to take something more. Shall I take Sri Kurmam, Tirumalai and Srirangam? That seems to be a good choice, because in those 3 places, Sri Kurmam, he established that Kurmanada was Vishnu and not Kurmalingeswara, as was thought. In Tirumalai, all of you know that he was the one who was able to settle the dispute about the identity of the Lord there. right from the days of Tondaman Chakravarti, all of you know, the conch and the discus were given to him to win a battle. He wanted to keep it for himself so that later people will be able to understand that the Lord is without these disc and conch because they have been given to Tondaman. Venkateswara agreed. But a few centuries later, when successors came to power, they thought that in the absence of any particular claim, they can make wild claims. They thought, well, the idol has got a hank of hair from underneath the crown behind the neck. So they said, no, she is Devi or Parvati or Parameswari. Others said, they took Varaha Tirtham as Kumara Tirtham and said, it is Kumara or what we would call Subramanya. So claims are many. Therefore, it had to be established. So the successor of Tondaman Chakravarti, they began to investigate and said, there is no way of settling it. Scholars are not able to agree. Records are not very clear. So we will have to submit it to the will of the Lord himself. And so he called many people, among whom there were Vaishnavites, there were Saivites, there were Saktai, all of those people are there. And they decided, we shall place the insignia of the three in front of the Lord, pray unto him, lock the door, keep it sealed. And the next moment they will come and open. They did it. And lo and behold, the Lord was standing there with the discus and the famous Shankar. So I thought, one place he established, other place he gave an identity. Well, but about Sri Rangam, what did he do? Well, Sri Rangam was the place where from he ruled the entire world. And Sri Rangam was the place where he established the proper order of worship. The everyday pujas, how was it to be? So I thought I could take those three. But how is the life of Ramanuja complete without mail coat? Mail coat was important in many ways. One, it was the place where he conquered. Well, the word conquered should not be taken in a military sense. He won over, as it were. I cannot use the word convert because convert is proselytization. That is not what we want. So we shall say he was able to conquer. Conquer without a military implication. He conquered the then ruling Jaina king by, of course, what you may call performing miracles. It was no miracle. He was able to exorcise the princess. This exorcism should not be thought of as a miracle because, as it is said, a miracle is no miracle for the miracle maker. It is only for us it is a miracle. Therefore, he was able to conquer him. And then, there are other things too. The temple there, the Moolavar, and later the Ursavar. He is going to Delhi and bringing back Bibi, and along with the Sampath Kumara. All these things are so significant. Therefore, I shall settle for these three, I thought. And again, there was another little doubt. There are occasions when the Lord had spoken to his disciples and mostly to Ramanuja. Let us look at this. At Kanchipuram, the Lord did not directly speak to him, but gave him the message through Tirukachinambikar. And in Melkote, he revealed himself in a dream and said, I am here under the tree, and therefore you bring me and consecrate me. And later, he told him where the idol was, and the idol was later brought. As for Sri Rangam, there again Lord spoke to him, and more especially when the Gadyatrayam was uttered, it is said that the Lord spoke to him and said, you be here, Sarira Pada Samayam, until your body falls, you will be here, and then go with me to Sri Vaikuntham. So I thought these three cities would very well suit the choice, or else I will have to go on with 10. But anyway, a few things here and there may have to be made references to, because with the references to other places, these three cannot be brought out in their great significance. Let us now begin with Kanchipuram, the tale of three cities. Kanchipuram, Sri Rangam and Melkote. Kanchipuram, I would call it as the very capital of Sri Vaishnavism. People may dispute. In fact, in one of the essays I said that Kanchipuram is better qualified to be Bhuloka Vaikuntham than even Sri Rangam. It is not that I want to dispute. It is only to consider the greatness, the significance, the validity, the importance of the things that are there in Kanchipuram. He was born at Bhutapuri Bhutapuri, a very renowned place. How did it get the name Bhutapuri is another reason why it has become important. Bhutapuri, the place where the Bhutas, the Shivaganas, they were there. How did they come to that place and what has Ramanuja to do with that? Bhutapuri was the place where the Bhutas, they did penance on the banks of the Pushkarani, which was then known as Ananta Pushkarani. We should not confuse this with Ananta Saras. This is Ananta Pushkarani. The Ananta Pushkarani was designated as the place where they could go and do penance. The story runs somewhat like this. Once, when Lord Shiva was dancing, the Bhutaganas, they looked at him and they felt like laughing and they laughed. And instantly Shiva got angry and cursed them. You Bhutas, you will never have any peace with me hereafter. Get away from here. They didn't know what to do. They went to Tirumala and prayed to the Lord. And the Lord said, you have got salvation, I will give you. You go to the place where there is Ananta Pushkarani, that is Bhutapuri. They came there, meditated, and once again were restored to the favor of Shiva. That place therefore is called Bhutapuri. He was born there. From Bhutapuri, the intellectual capital of Tondainadu was Kanchipuram. Very near Kanchipuram was Tirupakuri. In Tirupakuri was Yadav Prakasa. We saw all those things in the previous lecture. So he had his initial training in the philosophy of Visishtadvaita, though the name was not there. Visishtadvaita's name was given to us much later. Probably Dr. Vivekanandha believes that it was only in the 14th century that Sudarshan Suri gave it the name Visishtadvaita, because it was known as non-dualistic monism. Well, what is that? Or shall we call it Kevala Advaita? No, because that is different. So this Advaita is Visishta Advaita, that is qualified non-dualism. Even here there was some difficulty. So they said pan-organismal monism. Even that is not, because pan-organismal is able to take care of the Sarira Bhava, pan-organismal. All organs are part of him. So Sarira Bhava could be taken. So we shall have Visishtadvaita as a consensus term. Visishtasya Advaitam, Visishtayoho Advaitam, Visishtanam Advaitam, like that. So it was the capital. Kanchipuram was the capital. Nearby was Tirupakuri, not very far, just over 10 kilometers. Those days there was no distance at all. All of you know that from Pundamalli to Kanchipuram, a distance today we reckon as about 15 miles. And as the crow flies, it may be just 10 miles or even less. And every day Tirukachinambi was going from Pundamalli to Kanchipuram to offer worship to Lord Vardaraja. So you can take it that it was only the outskirts, or you may call the suburban of Kanchipuram. And then it was from there that Ramanuja almost escaped from being drowned in the Ganges. And who rescued him from there? It was only Lord Vardaraja and his great consort, Mahadevi, Perindevi. They appeared as hunter couple and guided him back. And from where he saw the temple, there was the well called the Sal well. From there he took water and performed the daily ablutions for the Lord. And it was under the instruction that he would continue to do that. And that instruction was given to him by Tirukachinambika. So Kanchipuram is a very important place which got Ramanuja back for us. Whatever happened to him in the forests of Vindhyas, we do not know. He was rescued, saved, brought, blessed and given to us the great gift that Lord Vardaraja has given to all of us. The next one, again in Kanchipuram, it was in Kanchipuram that he came into contact with the reputation of Alavanda. He did not see him, he did not meet him. He came into contact with the reputation when, on his way back from the Salwell carrying water, he heard the verses from Alavanda's Stotra Ratnam being chanted. He listened to it and said, "What a wonderful chanting! Who is the author of this?" And he was told it was Alavanda, and he could go to Sri Rangam and meet him. So it was again Kanchipuram which directed him to Sri Rangam and took him to Acharya, Alavanda. Though Alavanda was not directly his Acharya, Ramanuja always used to say that he was Alavanda's Ekalavya. In absentia Guru was Alavanda. Then, when he goes to meet him, that is after he takes the decision to go there, on the way he meets Perinambihar, that was Madhurantham, that's why Madhurantham is important. There he gets initiation into the Pramana, the Prameya and the Pramata. Comes back to Kanchipuram. It is only from Kanchipuram that he takes his sannyasa. And he was called the Yatiraja by none other than Lord Vardaraja himself. So, Kanchipuram is one very important city. It is to this city that he comes back after all the adventures and comes there and prays to Lord Vardaraja that Kurathalvan be given his eyesight. But you know, Kurathalvan never wanted it. If I want the eyesight, it is only for seeing Lord Vardaraja and seeing my master. Beyond that, I don't want these eyes at all. So you are able to see how Kanchipuram occupies a very important place. There is one more very important thing. That is, when Thirukachinambikar goes to the Lord, and when Lord was there in Thiruvolakam, as they say, he was in his court, you can say, when he appealed to him, spoke to him, he did not spell out the doubts. Ramanuja has got some doubts. Instantly the Lord knew and gave him the 6 sentences. The 6 sentences, 5 of them purely upon philosophy and theology, and the 6th upon the importance of the Guru. The 5 principles, that he is the Paratattva, that distinction is his means. There is only one way of getting in, that is Prapatti. And then it is only at the end of the body that you will get into heaven. And the most important of them all, it is only a reincarnation of Varaha who could say that there is no need for remembering me at the time of your death. As they say, when you die, you may not be in a position to repeat my name, because as they say, you may be like a Kashtam, or you may be like a Pashanam. If you are like a Kashtam or a Panchanam, how can you remember? Then I will make you remember. There are 2 ways of saying it. I will remember, or I will make you remember. That's why he says, Smarami Vadbhaktam Nayami Paramam Gatim. That's what he says. So, it is here that he got. Most essentially, you see, the importance of Prapatti and the need for leading a divine life right from the moment and not going for Abhat Sannyasa as others would believe. You will be there. Apporikepose Selvaithan, they say. In a similar way, there is no need for you to worry about the last. Do it now, here. And then you will be given the salvation as decided by me. And then the importance of the Acharya. That's why Ramanuja had so many of them. Without Acharya, there is no salvation to get. Many of the stories. There is one story which all of you know, and that was when Thirukachinambikar was fanning the Lord. At that time he had a disciple. This disciple asked his master to find from Varadaraja whether he would have whether he would get heaven. Thirukachinambikar went there and asked the Lord. Lord said, yes, he will have. He was very happy. After the function was over, he was just climbing down the steps. As he came down a few steps, he thought, will I have moksham? Then he thought, when my disciple has, I should definitely have. Therefore, he began to climb down again. Then he thought, why not I find out from him? He went up. He went to the Sannidhi and asked the Lord, will I have? God said no. He was flabbergasted. How? Unless you have an Acharya, there is no way for salvation. And he asked him, I was fanning you and you were speaking to me. That's what he said. In a similar way, in Melkot also there is another incident where when Pundarikaksha, he used to sing and the Lord used to dance. And when he asked him, will I have salvation? The Lord said no. Why? You don't have an Acharya. Neer ordinary, neer pardinere, nor ordinary, he said. Therefore we are quits. So the importance of the Acharya, that was the 6th commandment that was given there, seek Perinambihal as your Acharya. So all the fundamental principles are essential for building up. All these things of course were implemented from Sri Rangam, but they were given from here. Therefore I would consider that just as a ball is put in motion by initial impetus, that impetus was given in Kanchipuram and the momentum was carried through. And it was because of the inertia, see, what the others gave was only momentum, what he gave was the impulse. So, from here, we move on. I don't have to recount how he took a sannyasa and all that. We move on to Sri Rangam. In Sri Rangam, very important things happen. It was the place where from he went to Tirukkottiyur so many times, 18 times they say, in order to have initiation into the secrets of Vishtadvaita, what they call Rahasyam. And then it was here that he studied Nalayaram under the tutelage of Thirumalayandam. Many problems were there, but that does not matter. And then it was here that he surrendered unto the Lord on the Panguni Uttaram day. More than all these things, it was here that he wrote the Sri Bhashyam. It was here that he completed the 3 vows which straightened the fingers of Alavandar. That he will name someone after Vyasa, that he will write Visishtadvaita Purva Bhashyam, and he will create Ubhaya Vedanta or give equal importance to Tamil Vedanta. He wrote the Sri Bhashyam, all of you know. He named the son of Kurathalwan as Parasara. Parasara is often known as the adopted son of Sri Ranganatha. As for the third one, Tirukkurhei Piran, that is Nammalvar. Tirukkurhei Piran Pillan was the one who first wrote the commentary under the direction, of course, of Ramanuja. So, all these important things take place there. But other important things also take place. Kanchipuram is known for its sanctity, that is known for its persecution. Because it was there that he had to declare that there was no Lord greater than Shiva. Sivastu Paradaram Nasti. But he could not do it. The story goes that Kurathalwan wanted to save Ramanuja from this persecution and asked him to escape, and himself subjected to the persecution. It is a very sad, harrowing tale to recount. To speak about it is so difficult for me, but that is part of our lore. From Sri Rangam, if you move over to Melkote, Melkote is a very important place. When he went to Melkote, on the way so many things happened. We have to speak about Mirle, we have to speak about Kongu, we have to speak about so many other places, Vahani Pushkarani, Salakramo. But for us it is Melkote that is most important. In Melkote, by exercising the princess, he was able to win the confidence of the king, and through the king he was able to build the temple. Where was the idol till then? It was revealed to him in a dream that only on the banks of the Kalyani Pushkarani he was buried. On the banks of the Kalyani Pushkarani alone he found the Thiruman also. There are some very interesting festivals there in Tirunarayanapuram, what is often referred to as Mutakutsavam, where Ramanuja one day did not have enough of this white Thiruman, and he had to go to seek it. While going, he did not have Thiruman, therefore he covered himself with a mutak, covering for the head. When there got it, when he came back, even now, on that particular Utsavam day, as he goes from the temple to the Pushkarani, it is very fast, and he is covered with white cloths. But when he reaches there, and after the Anushtanam and the Thiruman Kapu, when he comes back there in royal majesty. That is so important. There is a wonderful festival which all of us will go there and see. A similar thing happens in Sri Ramanuja also, where during the Utsavam, yes, Ramanuja wears white clothing, Kurathalwan wears the ochre robes, they go out, come back, the Thirumanjan is performed, and then only the dress is exchanged. So all these tell us how Ramanuja's life has these three cornerstones. One is Kanchipuram, the other is in Sri Rangam, and the third, of course, in Melkote. Melkote has got other things also. From Melkote, he travelled all the way to Delhi, and the story of Sampath Kumara need not be repeated because it is so well versed. Historically and epigraphically, a few differences are there, but are you going to look upon this as myth, or is it history, or is it chronology, or is it hagiology? Well, these are only terms. As it is said, the facts remain the same. It is only our description of them that varies. When you say something, it is only the verbal account of what was. It is not the thing as it is in itself. It is impossible to say what a thing is in itself unless you become the thing itself. And when you become the thing itself, you won't be able to speak. When the tongue becomes a stone, as they say. So, we have to go, because people say, was there a sultanate there in Delhi during the 11th century or 10th century or 12th century? No, it was only much later. But there is no evidence there. All these things are only, well, many of the things cannot be proved by this evidence or that evidence. Karnataka inscriptions have been translated. Epigraphs have been written down. S.R. Gopal has done wonderful work upon it. Carman has done great work upon it. Dr. Narasimhachari has done work upon the particular areas. All these things again and again point out to the fact that all these things corroborate. Where they don't corroborate, we have to take what is corroborated and not what is not. So, these three. About Melkote, after Melkote he comes back. When he comes back, he goes to Tirumalurunjolai. Very good. Great things are there in Tirumalurunjolai. And from there he comes to Kanchipuram, goes back, and ultimately the last days are there in Kanchipuram and in Srirangam. And Srirangam becomes the most important place. And these three places, there is one idol of Ramanuja in Melkote. There is one in Sri Ramanuja, and there is one in Srirangam. Tamarahunda Tirumeni, Tanuhunda Tirumeni, and Taneyana Tirumeni, they say. Taneyana Tirumeni is where he himself is. If you go there, you can see even today what a wonderful spirit of sculpture it is. To call it sculpture is blasphemy. It is Ramanuja himself. So, in this talk, I have been able to cover these three, but I am not very happy because there are many more things to be mentioned about the many other cities which are of great importance. And one more thing, and that is how Tirumalai, though not included in this, is very important. It is very often said that when Ramanuja wrote the Mangala Sloka for Gita Bhashyam and for Sri Bhashyam was written in Srirangam, but he speaks about Brahmani Srinivasaka. Gita Bhashyam, he speaks about Ranganatha. So, the two are not different at all. And when you take the average of the two, you find there right in between them Varadaraja. So, Varadaraja seems to be the mean, as it were, of the two extremes. On one side you have Tirumalai, on the other side you have Srirangam, in between, as that which is able to join. Samadhikaranyam is one thing which Ramanuja was very fond of. It was only through that he was able to interpret the Vedasruti and the Abedasruti as consistent and not inconsistent or opposed. So Varadaraja gave him all that. He occupies a central position. And so this lecture, which was called A Tale of Three Cities, and the paradoxical nature of the entire thing we have been able to see now. And I will speak more about these things when I happen to meet you next. I think we have enough time. 30 minutes, sir.
Another 15 minutes.